mission and purpose about something? Do you feel called to champion a particular cause? In contrast, the passion-based entrepreneur is fueled by a passion that revolves around a topic or subject matter that they love, including anything from fishing to photography. In contrast to the mission-based entrepreneur who has a mission to right a wrong in this world, the passion-based entrepreneur wants to share their passion with the world and transform it into a business. Mission-based is all about serving by moving people away from something negative, whereas passion-based is all about serving by moving people towards something positive. When I first met Charlie Wallace, he was a couple $1,000s behind on his rent and sleeping on a broken, fold-out couch. Even though he was an extremely talented guitar player traveling the world with his band, the gigs didn't pay a whole lot, and he was struggling to make ends meet. He felt like the inevitability of putting down his guitar and getting a real job was fast approaching, but he couldn't stop wishing he could come up with a way to capitalize on his passion for playing music. Knowing that the world was moving online and utilizing the internet was going to be the most cost-effective way for him to reach people, he told his band that he was going to start offering online guitar lessons. He dedicated time and resources to building a website, and guitarmasterymethod.com was born. Feedback immediately poured in that his teaching was producing real results for his customers. The first thing he did with the proceeds of his business was buy himself a bed. Passion is contagious and can be a key ingredient in driving customer loyalty. Charlie's enthusiasm about playing the guitar set him apart and made customers feel connected to his brand. They believed that he truly got them. Within just 12 months of launching his business, he was able to afford his dream home, complete with an in-house music studio. Starting with nothing, he's become a millionaire before the age of 30. And today, he makes 7 figures a year, while tens of thousands of guitarists use Guitar Mastery Method for its online catalog of guitar courses, one-on-one support team, members-only community via private Facebook group, and VIP club that offers monthly live lessons with Charlie. What are you deeply passionate about? What is a subject or something that you're excited by, or an outcome you'd like to see in your life or share with the world? If you build a business this way, with the goal of tapping into and sharing that deep interest with the world, you're a passion-based entrepreneur. The opportunity-based entrepreneur is one who finds and follows a new area of opportunity and growth. They see potential where there might be an unsatisfied demand in the market, and are typically the ones who think to themselves, how has someone not solved that problem yet? Unlike mission-based entrepreneurs who are drawn to fight a cause for which they would die on the hill, or passion-based entrepreneurs who are drawn to transform or incorporate a life passion into their business, opportunity-based entrepreneurs are drawn to solving a practical problem they've come across that represents an unmet need in the marketplace. Dana Obelman was a brand new mom with a baby who wouldn't sleep through the night. As anyone with kids can attest, sleep deprivation can lead to unspeakable levels of frustration, devastation, and let's be honest, hallucination for everyone in the house, whether that be mom, dad, siblings, or pets. Plus, parents often feel like failures because they always thought babies were supposed to sleep a lot, hence the expression, sleep like a baby. After Dana managed to solve her son's nocturnal issues and had him sleeping 8 hours at a stretch without waking up, she and her husband Mike created the Sleep Sense program, which you can learn about at sleepsense.net, to make sure every parent who struggles with sleepless nights could get the help that they needed. Through a downloadable ebook, they share a simple step-by-step process tailored to specific age ranges, as well as access to a 14-day video training course with in-depth how-to lessons with Dana. More recently, they implemented tiered membership that offers tons of additional bonus content. The Sleep Sense program has now been going strong for over a decade, served more than 79,000 parents, and been featured on national media like Good Morning America, CNN, The Washington Post, HuffPost, and WebMD. All because Dana was a blurry-eyed new mom who saw an opportunity to help parents who were in a similar predicament. What opportunities do you see around you? Is there something you've identified that you could provide a solution for? If so, you're an opportunity-based entrepreneur. The final type is the undecided entrepreneur, and they're the ones who aren't sure about most things related to deciding what type of business to start. They might not know what type of entrepreneur they are. They might not be sure whether they have a viable mission or passion worth pursuing. Or they don't know if they're sitting on an opportunity worth building a business around. I'm raising my hand because this describes exactly who I was after I quit my job in Shanghai and moved to Hong Kong to be with Tylene. With the end of Tylene's doctoral program imminent, followed by a probable move back to the States, and not wanting another corporate career, I decided to work for myself. I was knee-deep in researching various entrepreneurial market opportunities when Tylene offhandedly mentioned jewelry she'd seen selling on Etsy. They were Scrabble tiles with origami paper glued onto them using resin. And based on the vast supply of origami paper designs, the personalization was endless. Living in China meant we had access to two things. Number one, copious amounts of origami paper, and number two, highly affordable labor. Tylene and I could practically see each other's wheels turning. We could buy supplies, hire people to make Scrabble tile jewelry, and sell the jewelry online with enough of a markup to turn a profit. But when it came down to it, I didn't want to tie us down to a factory in China. I wanted to build a location-independent business, one that would let us travel, one that would let us live anywhere in the world. The idea was officially dead in the water. 3 weeks later, Tylene brought it up again. I thought we shut the door on that, I asked. No, I came across something else, Tylene said. There's this woman, and she's not selling the jewelry. She's teaching people how to make the jewelry. I looked into it, and sure enough, the woman was selling a how-to manual for making personalized Scrabble tile necklaces. I bought the product and was floored by how bad it was. Typos and blurry photographs. The whole thing was a lesson in poor quality, which would have been a big deal had she not been charging $30 per download. She was robbing these people blind, me included, but people were still buying. On Etsy, you can see how many sales the vendors are making, so we saw that this woman was generating between 10 to 15 sales each day. I did the math real quick. She was making around $300 a day or $10,000 a month selling a crappy PDF. All right, Tylene, I said with a mix of resolve and defeat, let's give it a shot. I made the jewelry several times so I could properly articulate how to tell somebody else to make it. In other words, I was just trying to become the fifth grader to my fourth grader customers. My wife then took photos of each phase in the process and compiled it all into a professional-looking and user-friendly downloadable resource. I was pretty proud of the end product, actually. It was certainly better than the other one that I'd seen. We started selling it, and within weeks, it was generating for us a few $1,000s of income per month. At its peak, we were clearing nearly $10,000 per month. And then, fads being what they are, the Scrabble tile jewelry craze ended, and our revenue stream dried up just as fast as it had begun. Undecided entrepreneurs aren't rare. In fact, they may be the most common type of first-time entrepreneur. New endeavors breed uncertainty, and anyone who decides to brave a whole new world doesn't always know the ins and outs of what they're getting into, nor do they know just what it will bring out. How can people give themselves the best shot at success with so many unknowns? Of the different types of entrepreneurs we just reviewed, which one jumped out at you the most? Did any of the descriptions feel like they were written about you? Did any of the motivations, mission, passion, or opportunity align with something you'd want to pursue? Or like me when I started, are you unsure about where you fall, which is perfectly fine. If you're curious to discover what type of entrepreneur you are and what type of business you should start, I have a free assessment you can take inside the bonus online resource area. If you're feeling undecided right now and none of the other three types are really connecting with you, the important thing is to not let it stop you from progressing forward with this process. In time, you'll start gaining more clarity. Perhaps a couple more questions will do the trick. It may be helpful to list out your answers. Lists have proven very beneficial for me. What are you naturally good at? What do people regularly ask you for help with? Maybe it's handyman-related stuff, or cake decorating, or copy editing, or makeup advice. What do you find easy that others might find hard? Have you succeeded in anything in that vein in the past? What do you have expertise in? I know, you may think that you don't have any, so let's reframe that question. What qualifications do you have? What jobs have you held? What have you researched and learned about? What is the one thing you could teach someone if I told you that you only had 10 minutes to prepare? Who do you love to serve? Are there particular groups of people you're drawn to? Maybe who are a particular age or who are dealing with a specific challenge or situation. Maybe you resonate with people who have a particular personality or financial profile or are from a specific geographical area. What service do they need? As you're thinking through all this, it might be helpful to access the Market Brainstorm worksheet over in the bonus online resource area. This gives you a place to make notes as you go through this chapter. This worksheet is a starting place for you to begin thinking about the market you might want to focus on. Remember, it is a brainstorm, so there are no bad ideas. Just get all your thoughts down as they come to you. And don't worry too much at this stage about vetting what you had. There's another step in the process I'll guide you through to help you do that. For now, what you want to do is capture as many ideas as you can as you go through this process. You never know when a good idea will hit. Mine tend to come to me in the middle of the night, while I'm going for a run, driving my kids to school, or even taking a hot shower. Do you remember the night I was tossing and turning at 3 a.m., trying to choose between the bonsai tree market and the orchid market? I knew next to nothing about either of them, but I'd done extensive research in the months following my short-lived success with the Scrabble tile jewelry business, which was both the driving force and the cause of my anxiety when it came to taking the plunge with another business. My research resulted in a list of dozens of possible niche markets I could explore, and bonsai trees and orchid care both on there. Let me back up for a second so you can appreciate how mundane brainstorming can seem, and how serendipitous it can turn out to be when you trust the process. Back when I was living in Shanghai, I was sitting in my apartment on the 23rd floor and staring out of the window at the smog. I was trying to brainstorm possible business ideas, and I was looking all around me for some thought starters. My eyes moved from the smog to my living room wall, to the picture frame hanging on my living room wall, to a pillow sitting on an armchair in the corner, to a potted orchid sitting on the kitchen table. Despite our best efforts, Tylene and I always managed to kill orchids. They were our favorite flower, despite, or maybe because of their fragility. And every time one died, we just bought another. Seeing it there on the table prompted me to wonder if there was a secret to keeping them alive. And then I found myself adding orchid care to my list of markets. That's it. I wish I could pretty it up for you, but I literally looked around my apartment and saw an orchid. It wasn't a eureka moment. More importantly, I didn't stop my brainstorm right then and there because it was such a fantastic idea, or I had a gut feeling that I had just landed on the key to my future. I didn't even look at that list again until we moved back to the States. And even then, orchid care was buried at number 57 in the pages and pages of possible market ideas. But by that time, I had a couple more tactics under my belt and a better idea of the requirements a niche needed to meet in order to be successful. And according to all of those criteria, the two markets that rose to the top of that entire list were bonsai trees and orchids. It was as if someone was asking me if I wanted to eat Liberty Jib or Boobity Bob for dinner. How was I supposed to know the answer if I didn't know what either was? The pressure to find the one felt almost paralyzing. There was a lot at stake, money and pride just to name two, and I felt like I had only one chance to get it right. Then it hit me, the old middle-of-the-night idea. What if I treated this as my practice business? What if I chose one and went full steam ahead, but intentionally used it as a way to figure out the kinks? If things went well and I made money, well, that would be awesome. If things went south and I didn't find success, I would have learned so much along the way, and whatever money I invested in the business, I would just treat as tuition. After all, I could either spend $250,000 and go and get my MBA, or invest a fraction of that to launch this business and quite possibly learn as much, or maybe even more, in the process. That line of thinking took the pressure off having to get it right. And that wiggle room is what allowed me to spring into action. By the time the sun rose the next morning, I had chosen orchid care as my practice business, and my goal was to learn, improve, and get better results than I had with the Scrabble tile jewelry. As it turns out, my orchid care practice business went on to generate $25,000 per month in income within my first 18 months, and eventually generate over $500,000 a year, providing a level of financial freedom I never possible as a blue-collar, working-class kid. In many ways, it was worth quadruple that amount in experience alone. I went on to enter many markets using what I learned in that first go-around. No one hands a student driver the keys to a Ferrari. Teenagers need to go through years of trial and error before they're ready to handle the road in their dream car. They should start with a car that can take a few scratches to practice with, one that they, or the holder of the title, isn't completely attached to. Oftentimes in business, beginning by being dispassionate about the topic or subject allows you to become passionate about the process. Today, my passion is serving entrepreneurs around the world through my role as CEO of the Ask Method company. But that wasn't my first business or market. I hope you hit it out of the park on the very first pitch. I hope you choose the perfect niche market that aligns with your strengths as an entrepreneur and allows you to produce a product you believe in that reaps all the financial benefits your heart desires. I'm going to give you access to every tool in my arsenal to help make that happen. But in case it doesn't, know that it's a normal outcome, and as my own story illustrates, an important outcome. Remove the stress of thinking you need to have everything figured out, and watch how much easier things fall into place. The Market Brainstorm worksheet reiterates what we've just covered. In it, you'll find succinct one-liners to describe the 4 types of entrepreneurs, which may help you further determine which one you are, followed by pointed questions to help you continue to home in on your strengths and see how they can be applicable to your entrepreneur type. If you don't already have it, the full worksheet with its detailed instructions can be downloaded and printed from the bonus online resource area at choosethebook.com/bonuses. Step 3. Business idea brainstorm. The entire point of this first stage, and the most important thing to remember as you enter step 3, is brainstorm. Embrace the level of freedom the brainstorming process affords you. This is all about capturing possibilities, so don't worry too much about filtering or critiquing your ideas. Know that there are no bad ideas, only good ones. Throw as many as you can against the wall and see what sticks. Now that you've brainstormed potential market ideas, it's time to home in on your business idea. That is, what kind of business within your market might you create? Not sure yet? I'll be introducing you to some concepts to help you get clearer. We started broad by brainstorming your overall model, and then moved into brainstorming your market. Based on the exercises, questions, and examples that were covered in step 2, you hopefully came up with some market ideas that center around what you're passionate about and or ideas that you have skill and expertise in. Maybe you realize that your friends are always asking you to help them set up their internet, or give them business advice, or share one of your famous cookie recipes. Maybe you found that you're passionate about helping first-time mothers, or teenagers heading to college, or farmers who want to switch to organic farming methods. These are all potential clues to help you determine your business idea. Now we're going to take the information that you've gathered and the strategic thinking that you've already done and go one level deeper. Welcome to the concept of keyword phrases. Yes, you already know what keywords and phrases are, but in the context of the Choose Your Market framework, keyword phrases have a very specific meaning that is fundamental to the whole process. Keyword phrases are going to be the output of this current business idea brainstorm step and will be used to create a succinct and simple summary of your business idea. Your keyword phrase might be how someone describes what you do, or what is at the core of what you offer. For example, your business idea could be to help people care for their organs, teach the basics of playing guitar to amateur guitarists, run a doggy daycare, or assist people in improving their memory. Keep in mind that the more specificity you can apply to your ideas, the better. Keyword phrases are a critical part of the test stage, which we're rapidly approaching, and will ultimately help you determine which idea will provide the deep, fast-moving river you're looking to launch your boat into. Plus, your keyword phrases will also help you discover which ideas might be currentless rivers with no real forward movement, and which ideas are massive oceans with too much space to gain any real momentum. Suffice it to say, it'd be a good plan to take some time to think through as many keyword phrases as possible around your business ideas, with the goal being to whittle them down and move forward with your top 3 to 5 contenders. So let's brainstorm possible ideas. For example, if you're looking at the public speaking market, you might come up with a list of keyword phrases ranging from how to speak in public to variations on that theme, such as presentation skills and speech making, or even more specifically, presentation skills for beginners. If you're struggling to come up with keyword phrases, an easy way to stir up more ideas is to type your first keyword phrase into Google, then scroll down and look at the searches related to section at the bottom of the page, where you'll find a list of other related keyword phrases. Based on the results for a Google search on public speaking, you can also add speaking techniques and speaking skills to your list of possible keyword phrases. You can also do the same using an online thesaurus, like the example shows in the supplementary PDF that accompanies this audiobook, to get ideas on a variety of possible related keyword phrases. In this case, the online thesaurus results for public speaking could give you the idea to add diction, voice production, and speechcraft to your list of keyword phrases. Once you have a comprehensive list of keyword phrases, you'll need to do one more step. It may seem like a small thing, but it'll make a big difference in everything that comes next. And that is to look at each keyword phrase on your list and transform it into an I want to statement. You do that by completing the statement, I want to help people. Some examples based on various missions, passions, and opportunities would be, I want to help people decorate their home. I want to help people create better Facebook ads. I want to help people improve their relationships with their teenage children. I want to help people get a job. I want to help people paint their first watercolor painting. Everything that follows after I want to help people becomes your keyword phrase that you will take into the test step. In my orchid business, my I want to statement was, I want to help people care for orchids. So my keyword phrase was care for orchids. For my rocket memory product, it was, I want to help people improve memory. My keyword phrase that I took into the test step, you guessed it, improve memory. You'll notice we're not saying help people with orchids, but help people care for their orchids. Not just help people with memory, but help people improve their memory. Keep this in mind as you're brainstorming your possible I want to statements, which will also come into play in the next step in the process. For now, the key takeaway is this. You want to be general, but specific. Now, it's your turn. To help you, I've put together the Business Idea Brainstorm worksheet, which gives you space to list several potential business ideas. It begins with the prompt, I want to help people. You can list your keyword phrases as the completion of that I want to statement on the left-hand side. Then, if you look to the right-hand side of the worksheet, you'll see the various criteria we covered in the market brainstorm step, from mission to passion to opportunity-based entrepreneurs, and the additional elements that pertain to your talent, expertise, and people, each of which will help you assess how specific business ideas align with those preferences. If you wrote down, I want to help people brew their own beer, you might feel that passion, talent, expertise, and maybe even people could all be applicable to that business idea. I want to help people recover from a stroke. May check the mission, passion, and people boxes. I want to help people raise bees in their backyard. May check the talent and expertise boxes. Overwhelmed? Don't worry about trying to evaluate or second-guess your ideas at this point. Simply capture them on the worksheet. Then put a check mark on the preferences that apply to that idea and tally up the checks at the end to see which ones check the most boxes, literally and figuratively. Of course, the goal is to ultimately choose a business idea that has the highest score. Once you check the boxes on the worksheet that apply to each idea, you can see which ones garnered the most checks and therefore are the front runners. You can access a printable, downloadable copy of the Business Idea Brainstorm worksheet in the bonus online resource area found at choosethebook.com/bonuses. Check boxes aside, there are 2 additional questions you can ask yourself if you're still unsure whether you want to even entertain a particular business idea. First, does it suit your personality? Will this idea make you put forward a brand or message that's congruent or incongruent with your personal approach and style? Is one of your ideas a controversial topic that's going to require you to put yourself out there in a way that your beliefs will be challenged and you'll constantly be challenging others' viewpoints? Are you looking at ideas that require you to share aspects of your personal might not be comfortable sharing with the public. These are the types of things that you want to be thinking about in terms of whether your business ideas resonate with your personality. Second, can you see yourself doing this in 5 years? Projecting forward and seeing yourself doing something, not just today, next month, but for the next 5 years can be a great litmus test as to how interested and invested in an idea you might be. If the thought of doing something for the next 1,800 days immediately makes you feel miserable, it's safe to say maybe that idea isn't your answer. Let's pause here. You're going to need to take your top 3 business idea keyword phrases into the test part of the process. Have 3 come into focus based on that exercise above? If you're torn between more than that, feel free to take up to 5 with you. If you have fewer than 3, or maybe even none, I'm ready to step in and help. This whole thing can feel confusing or overwhelming, and when that happens, sometimes it's nice to be handed a cheat sheet. After having success in a few different markets, I started to discover the common criteria you want to look for before entering any new market. I went through one of the deepest, most rigorous research projects I've ever gone through in my entire life, and came up with a list of the most lucrative, profitable niche markets that I would go into if I had the time. Markets that had proven to withstand the test of time. For years, I kept this top secret list tightly guarded. It represented my business plan for the next 25 years. I intended to go into niche after niche after niche. Since then, plans have changed. I've shifted to teaching and serving other entrepreneurs around the world to help them choose the right market and start the right business. And yet, each time I revisit my hard-earned list, even all these years later, it holds up. The methodology behind it has ensured its relevance, and that's all the more reason to put it to good use. So here's the thing. For the first time ever, I've decided to reveal 25 of the most lucrative, profitable niche ideas on that list. I've included those lucrative niches in a resource in the bonus online resource area that you can access at choosethebook.com/bonuses. In the meantime, to whet your appetite and give you a clue as to what some of those niches are, here are 5 of the niches on my top secret list. Check them out. Number 1, newborn photography. Number 2, transcendental meditation. Number 3, speed reading. Number 4, grow vegetables. And number 5, listening skills. Let me guess, you can't believe that some of what you just read are considered niche markets. I'm right there with you. Or I was there with you until I learned that all of these markets are not only real, but viable. If you can dream it, people just might want it. And if people want it, you're in business. Up until this point, the examples you've heard for specific I want to statements are pretty straightforward in the way they translate to a niche market. Wanting to help people brew their own beer is a clear shot to the home brewing market. And wanting to help people decorate their home is obviously the home decoration market. But it's not always so cut and dried. And that's precisely why the I want to statement exercise lives in the brainstorm stage. It's a great tool to help you think through business ideas, but it doesn't always end there. When I met Ask Method Masterclass student Robert Torres, he worked as a marketing director for a real estate company. His primary role was taking photos of various listings and making sure they were seen by potential buyers and sellers. Within the first 9 months of being employed there, he generated 600 leads for the agents in the office. When those agents went on to only convert 1% of the leads, he stepped in and figured out a solution that immediately began to increase their conversion rates. That was the good news. The bad news was that Robert's manager informed him that converting leads wasn't his job. Photography and generating leads was. Robert was torn. These agents had become his friends, and he wanted to see them succeed, which would be all the more probable with each conversion they made. That's around the time he started studying my work. Right after I met him, his statement to me was, I want to help real estate agents convert leads. It's a great start. Once you know who, real estate agents, the question becomes how. How do you create a product from an idea? And what? What product do you even create? A few years back, want to statements was, I want to help businesses create a warm, personal touch in a cold, digital world. That could have translated to a whole slew of things, but ultimately it's what led to the creation of my Bucket.io software company. Sound like a weird endgame? After all, my statement wasn't anywhere near, I want to help people survey and segment their customers using software. My business idea was broad yet detailed, which meant I got to explore and organically see how it manifested. And here's how it played out. I realized that it all started with entrepreneurs better understanding their customers so that they could better sell and better serve them. This is where using surveys came in, but not just any surveys. It's the nuances that matter. This is where the Ask method, the subject of my first book, was born. I discovered the biggest challenge entrepreneurs faced was having the right technology and tools to not only survey their customers to better understand them, but to segment them into different buckets so they can customize their messaging in such a way that allowed them to create that warm, personal touch. And it worked. The book Ask became a #1 national bestseller, selling well over 100,000 copies, and my Bucket.io software company now serves thousands of customers around the world. From first-time entrepreneurs who are just getting started and figuring out what market to go into and business to start, to large multinational corporations trying to better understand their customer base so they can ultimately better sell and better serve. But back to Robert. After his I want to help real estate agents convert leads statement, he decided to start out with a practice business, Real Traffic Online, a media company centered around real estate photography. As a young husband and new dad, as well as having barely bounced back after other entrepreneurial attempts, he was hesitant to take too big a risk. What if he didn't make money? What if he didn't really have an expertise but just got lucky that one time helping agents convert their leads? What if he wasn't equipped to run the show? You name it, he worried about it. Well, his practice business ended up being the perfect move because it inadvertently became phase 1 of a much bigger master plan. You see, a quality real estate photographer can get agents more listings and can also increase the rate at which those listings sell. Additionally, Robert offered drone videos to his list of services, which really took off, pun intended. As his client base grew, so did their leads. And you know what Robert could then swoop in to offer them? A way to convert those leads. A year into running his successful practice business, he officially launched his passion-based venture. The People and Properties Academy is an online community where real estate agents can come and learn for themselves how to generate and convert leads. Through tiered monthly membership that provides varying levels of supplemental support, they can get as much or as little help as they'd like. Robert and I had similar business ideas as far as better serving goes, but they resulted in markets and outputs that couldn't have been more different. It just goes to show that you can have similar dreams, concepts, or objectives as someone else, but your specific skills and solutions are what will set you apart. If you think your I want to statement is one that a ton of other people will have, know that the difference can be found in your edge. Although a ton of other people having the same idea could actually indicate an oversaturated market, in which case I'll help you re-brainstorm. For now, let's circle back to your business idea keyword phrases. Do you feel good about the ones that you have? Again, ideally you have 3 that you can bring with you into the test stage. Heading there means we're at the end of the first phase of the Choose Your Market framework. Let's take a look back over the key insights we've covered in the brainstorm stage so you feel good about moving forward. By now, you're familiar with the need to have a business model that provides a strong foundation in order for you to find immediate success as an entrepreneur. You've learned about the types of products or services you could deliver in your business by moving forward with the selling, education, and expertise model in one or a combination of the 4 quadrants on the product grid: product-focused, client-focused, membership-focused, and event-focused. You're familiar with the 4 types of entrepreneurs: mission-based, passion-based, opportunity-based, and undecided. And ideally have identified which one you are. You've been filled in on the in-up-max model and how it applies to the progression of your business as it pertains to products and growth. And finally, you now have a list of at least 3 keyword phrases that are representative of your business ideas. If you aren't sure you've got the keyword don't worry. Use what you have at this point. Learning and understanding what the framework is and how the process works are what matters. Think of it like finding the blueprint for validating every business idea you will ever have. Progress summary. You've just completed your first stage in the Choose Method process. The supplemental PDF includes a quick summary and checklist of not only your progress so far, but the steps you want to make sure you've completed up until this point. Take a moment now to review that summary and checklist before you move on to the next stage in the process. Stage 2. Test. The name of the game is to stay in the game until you win the game. Before you buy a car, you test drive it. Before you release software, you run a beta test. Before you jump in the pool, you test the water. Before you drink expired milk, you perform a smell test. You're not being overly controlling, you're being responsible, practical, vigilant. And that's exactly what you're doing here in stage 2. Results can be disastrous when you choose the wrong market. And the test process within the Choose Method will give you the confidence to move forward without feeling like you're risking everything. Money, sometimes a lot of it. Confidence, second-guessing yourself. Or time, your most precious resource. Here in this stage, you can simply test an idea, and if it passes, great. If it doesn't, it's far better to know now before you go ahead and invest in it further. This stage was designed to give you the highest chance of achieving business success, and it contains one particular test that was one of the most significant eureka moments of my life. It demystifies one of the trickiest parts of choosing your market and transforms it from being a dark mystery to being crystal clear. With the brainstorming stage complete, here's what you're going to do as you make your way forward with your handful of business ideas. You'll get an official introduction to the red light, yellow light, green light system as a way for you to gauge your progression. You'll quickly learn how effective it is in taking all the guesswork out of evaluating which of your brainstormed ideas are viable. It's an easy and clear indicator of whether or not your idea has passed each test and whether or not you should continue with it. If you hit a red light at any point through the test process, you'll go back to your brainstormed ideas and run another idea through. If you hit a yellow light, you'll want to treat those ideas with caution. If you hit a green light, you can move forward with assurance. And like I've said before, this is an iterative process, so it's normal to have to keep refining and going back through it until you've been given the green light. We'll use the traffic light approach to test your ideas against proven industry standards and assess their potential in 3 important areas. First, we're going to look at market size and figure out whether it's in the sweet spot for success. Here's where I will share my eureka moment with you. It's both simple and profound, and you absolutely need it because you don't want a market that's too small, and believe it or not, you also don't want a market that's too big. And this test gives you a way to clearly determine which is which. Second, we'll look at market competition, so you can be sure you don't have too many competitors, and also that you don't have too few competitors. Or, the biggest curse of them all, 0 competitors. Even though you might be tempted to think that you found a winner, little to no competition is actually a warning sign. Finally, we'll be looking at your market must-haves to see if your market has the 5 characteristics that will make your business idea sustainable for you, now and in the long term. Testing in stage 2 will give you the peace of mind and clarity to make an informed decision about which market and business idea to embark on, and ultimately make it abundantly clear whether you're putting your boat into the right body of water. But in order to do this, you have to have something to test, right? And that something is your bullseye keyword. Step 4, bullseye keyword. In step 3, your I want to statements produced keyword phrases. And constructing those sentences was a helpful exercise in figuring out the who and the what you want to focus on. Help real estate agents convert leads. Help teenagers acclimate to college. Help people paint their first watercolor painting. Indeed, each of these phrases is full of keywords. But the bullseye keyword in step 4 is a specific format for your business idea. It requires a pared down version of your keyword phrases, and in the tests to come, will help you verify whether Here's how to come up with your bullseye keyword candidates. First, take the top 3 I want to statements that you came up with during the brainstorm stage, starting with your top contender. Look at how you might express that keyword phrase, that is, everything that comes after the I want to help people part, in the framework I just gave you. A 1 to 3 word phrase that expresses the process or journey or transformation you're going to provide to people. For example, if my top business idea is, I want to help people care for their orchid, some bullseye keywords that follow the above framework might be orchid care, caring for orchids, growing orchids, or create orchid gardens. In the case of orchid care, the word care represents the process or journey you can help people with in regard to their orchids. Sometimes the process or transformation is built into the keyword itself. For example, home brewing or stroke recovery. And sometimes the process is baked into a one-word keyword like mixology. Perhaps a more digestible way to think about it is like this. Since selling education and expertise hinges on how-tos, more or less, think of these bullseye keywords as something you can teach someone. You can't teach how to orchid, but you can teach orchid care, home brewing, and mixology. To have a successful business means providing customers with something of value. So when in doubt, ask yourself, what do I want to help people do, achieve, experience, or have as an outcome related to my business idea? This will ensure there's an active process or journey element to your answer. If your I want to statement is, I want to help people brew their own beer, possible bullseye keywords could be beer brewing, home brewing, or how to brew beer. If your I want to statement is, I want to help people recover from a stroke, bullseye keywords could be stroke treatment, post-stroke therapy, stroke recovery, or overcoming strokes. Similar to the business idea brainstorm, when the I want to statements were pretty straightforward in how they translate into a niche market, that can also be the case here. Bullseye keywords can be incredibly obvious. Helping people manage their restaurants conjures up restaurant management, or helping people design flower arrangements easily elicits flower arranging. If it's not a straight shot, a common culprit is that your business idea isn't specific enough. Remember Christy Kennedy of Be Friendly Now? While her son had severe autism and was struggling with bullying at school, behind the scenes, she and her other children were also experiencing varying degrees of abuse and bullying. She and her children found themselves in a delicate and transitional stage of life where hopelessness threatened to take over at any moment. Those struggles led to her initial business idea that revolved around the statement, I want to help people overcome obstacles in life. That could have encompassed a great many things, not to mention made establishing a bullseye keyword quite difficult. As she started to sort through the specific process or journey of what her business idea could provide people, she leaned more and more toward a character and leadership-based program that helps students with special needs enter a mainstream school environment. She lived in Michigan at the time, so she went to the Michigan House of Representatives and Senate to seek support to pilot the program. The House chairman came back and asked if the program would help diminish bullying. Christy felt that it would be a natural result of the program, but the more she thought about it, the more she realized that it was the ultimate output of what she wanted the program to offer. The longer she sat with the idea, the more it resonated. It prompted her to shift her statement to, I want to help diminish bullying. It was specific enough to act as a North Star, general enough to include both the bully and bullied, and flexible enough to offer scalable solutions. By shifting her primary focus, she shifted her statement, which led her to land on Stop Bullying as her bullseye keyword. Once she started testing it, she realized she was about to enter a viable niche market. In this way, the bullseye keyword exercise can help you really home in on your idea. To begin the process of defining your bullseye keyword and to officially kick off the testing process, I've created the Choosing Your Greenlight Market worksheet to take you all the way through the test stage. By the time you've completed it, you'll have a very clear idea of what market to pursue, what business to start, and what niche book, I highly suggest you print the Choosing Your Greenlight Market worksheet from the bonus online resource area found at choosethebook.com/bonuses. It's an invaluable tool that will help you track your bullseye keywords as we move through the remaining steps of this journey, and is best utilized when you physically write and track your bullseye keywords as we go through each step. For now, you'll just want to focus on checkpoint 1 on the left-hand side of the worksheet and come up with a list of bullseye keyword candidates for each of your top 3 business ideas. Start with your number 1 priority. You might find multiple possible bullseye keywords for that business idea. List them all. Write each one on its own line in the space provided. Then move on to the next business idea and repeat until you've done that for your top 3. All set? Now you're going to do 2 very quick first pass tests here at checkpoint 1 on your worksheet for each of your bullseye keyword candidates. We call these first pass tests because they give you a quick indication whether your bullseye keyword is potentially viable via the aptly titled Google and Amazon tests. Let's start with Google. This simply involves doing a Google search over at google.com and entering your bullseye keyword in the search bar and hitting enter. If the search results come back showing search results similar to the ones you have in mind, your bullseye keyword has passed. So you put a check mark in the Google box next to that bullseye keyword. An applicable example is one of my early business successes in the memory improvement niche. When I took that idea through this process, I had 2 potential bullseye keywords: expand memory and improve memory. When I applied the Google test to my first keyword, expand memory, the first page of search results didn't align with what I thought I would see. Instead of being about how to remember more things and/or study for exams, which are the things I wanted to help people with, all the search results related to computer memory, like how to expand your RAM. In that case, I quickly knocked out the expand memory keyword. It failed the first test. I moved on to improve memory and applied the Google test. All the search results on the first page were very much aligned with what I wanted to help people with. Tips, exercises, articles, and products, all geared toward helping people remember what they wanted and ultimately achieve higher mental functioning. So that keyword got a check mark and passed its first test. You can opt to make your way down the list and do the first pass Google test for each of your proposed bullseye keywords. Or, as soon as you get one that passes, you can move on to the Amazon test. The choice is yours. The only thing I have a firm opinion on is that you run this process through for all of your top 3 business ideas. Don't just stop at your first one because it passed. The Amazon first pass is very similar to the Google test, except now you go to amazon.com and enter your proposed bullseye keyword into the search bar. If the results of items listed for sale on the first page of Amazon's results come back as you might expect, that is, products or information are related to how you want to help people, that keyword passes the Amazon test and gets a check mark. If it doesn't get the expected results, that suggests your keyword is not an accurate or effective way to express your business idea. In that case, it fails and is knocked out of contention. Going back to the memory example again, when I searched Amazon for expand memory, I was presented with a range of computer equipment, memory cards, and memory sticks to buy. Not relevant. But when I searched for improve memory, I got a mix of supplements and information geared toward helping people enhance their mental performance. Relevant. You may be wondering why I use Google and Amazon as the first line of defense in this exercise. Well, Google is the largest and most popular search engine in the world, so it gives you insight into what keywords the majority of people are searching for. Amazon is the world's largest online store, so it gives you insight into what keywords people are using to describe what they want to buy. By using this simple, trustworthy, and free strategy that very few people take full advantage of, you'll be able to quickly weed out which bullseye keywords should be eliminated from your list. If you're still stuck on trying to land on the wording of your bullseye keywords, it may help to revisit the 25 profitable market niche bullseye keywords through the 2 first-pass tests via Google and Amazon that we mentioned earlier and note the outcomes in checkpoint 1 on your Choosing Your Green Light Market worksheet. The ones that successfully get 2 check marks will be the ones that you'll take with you into the upcoming sweet spot tests. The first sweet spot test will be in regard to the ideal market size, and the second relates to the ideal amount of market competition. For both, we're looking for markets that fit inside the sweet spot, both in terms of size and competition. So in other words, we're looking for markets that have a unique combination of being the right size and having the right amount of competition. When you find such a market, this is where things start to get interesting. You ready? Step 5. Market size sweet spot. At the beginning of this book, I made a promise to you that I was going to demystify the process of what it takes to choose a successful market. And in step 5, I'm going to introduce you to one of the most crucial and clarifying concepts of the whole choose method, the market size sweet spot. It is one of the single biggest discoveries I've made in my entire career. In fact, when I did the original research for it, it hardly seemed possible, except that it is. I tested and retested. I've now seen it work in dozens of different markets, including my own and those of my most successful students and clients. After many years and much trial and error, I figured out there's a sweet spot for each market, and that sweet spot represents a market size that's not too big and not too small. Most believe the bigger the market, the better, but I'm about to debunk that myth. If you put your boat in the middle of the ocean, when you don't have the resources to expand your vessel into a larger ship suited to navigate big waters, you'll be swallowed up by the expanse, an irrelevant speck in a giant seascape. Conversely, if you put your boat in the middle of a still river, you can paddle as hard as you possibly can, but there will simply not be enough volume to get you moving. They're equally problematic situations. An ocean-sized market is too large to enter. A still river market is too small. The key is finding a market size in the middle between the vast ocean and the still river. The size of your market needs to be just right. So how can you tell whether your market idea is inside the market size sweet spot or not? The answer has been hiding in plain sight for more than a decade, since Google released its free tool, Google Trends, in May 2006. Well, it wasn't designed for this purpose. Since its inception, Google Trends has been gathering data and, as a byproduct, creating a picture for business owners that will help them gain extraordinary insight into the size of market for any business idea under the sun. And now, I have the other important piece of the puzzle, the exact location on the Google Trends graph of the market size sweet spot. This is a very tiny and very specific location on the Google Trends graph that, from my experience entering dozens of different markets, working with hundreds of clients over the past decade, and analyzing the graph location of the businesses that were successful and the ones that were not, is the exact range where your business idea has the greatest chance of success. Importantly, this market size sweet spot works incredibly well if you are looking to build a 6- or 7-figure business selling education and expertise. It doesn't necessarily apply if you're backed by millions of dollars of venture funding, if you're looking to build a billion-dollar company, or sell cupcakes or widgets, or become the next Nike, and I want to be upfront with you about that. I'm here to specifically help you grow your bootstrap business selling education and expertise into a highly profitable and successful venture, and I'm pulling out all the stops to do it. First, the basics. Here's how it works. Google Trends, which you can find at trends.google.com, shows how often a particular search term is entered into Google relative to the total search volume across the world. That means if there were 100 Google searches in total in the world right now, and 20 of them were for the words build a Lego castle, and 10 of them were for how to build a computer, then relatively speaking, there would be twice as many searches for build a Lego castle compared to how to build a computer. So it's a snapshot of how popular a particular search term is right now compared to all the things people in the world are searching for. This tool gives you a great benchmark of the popularity and relevance these charts in the supplemental PDF. Please assume that all the examples you see in the supplemental PDF from Google Trends are using these two settings. And I recommend that you do the same when you use Google Trends to help you choose your market. For starters, we're going to use a practice keyword. First, go to Google Trends and enter the keyword Pilates. After you press enter, you'll notice a graph is produced that shows the data results of consumer searches for that particular keyword. Now, go ahead and set your search criteria above the graph to worldwide and past 5 years. Once the data refreshes, do you see how the blue line is pretty straight across? It's showing a somewhat stable market. There's a spike in January and a drop between Thanksgiving and Christmas each year, which is common for many health and wellness markets. Here's looking at you, New Year's resolutions. And that alone implies that the market could be cyclical. This is an immediate clue. Think about what this could mean for your business. If your busy time at work is always in January, does that fit in with your lifestyle and your goals? It's also important to keep in mind that because cyclical markets go through highs and lows, they often have revenues to match. But how does Pilates compare to other health-related niches? This is where Google Trends gets really interesting and really powerful because it enables you to quickly contrast your search with other keywords. Click the plus compare button at the top of the screen and enter an additional keyword, this time keto. Now you see the Google Trends graph has 2 lines plotted on it, and you can see how Pilates and keto compare in terms of search volume. The new addition to that graph shows that the increasing